She was the face that launched 1,000 dreams. The woman who could change her look with a single haircut and make the entire fashion world follow. But what happens when the face that defined beauty itself disappears overnight? This is Linda Evangelista. She didn't just model clothes, she became the blueprint for what a supermodel could be, until one day, a simple cosmetic procedure promised to make her even more perfect. Instead, it destroyed everything she had built. For 5 years, she vanished. No red carpets, no magazine covers, no explanations. The woman who once said, "I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day," couldn't even look at herself in the mirror. This isn't just a story about beauty. It's about what happens when that beauty is taken away, and how one woman fought to reclaim not just her image, but her voice. Linda Evangelista wasn't discovered sipping a milkshake at some small-town diner. There was no fairy tale moment. She hunted modeling like it was her life mission. Born in Ontario, Canada, to Italian immigrant parents, Linda had zero connections to the fashion world. But she had something more powerful: burning ambition. While other teenagers were hanging out at the mall, Linda was studying every page of Vogue magazine. She memorized poses, analyzed lighting, and studied the models like she was preparing for an exam. At just 16, she started entering local beauty contests, not because she loved tiaras, but because they offered modeling contracts as prizes. She saved every dollar from her early jobs. $8 an hour for bridal shoots, where she had to do her own makeup in the back of vans. Most agencies said no. Too short, too ethnic looking, too commercial. But Linda kept a list of every rejection, not to feel sorry for herself, but to fuel her determination. When elite models finally signed her, they sent her to Japan. But the fashion industry's dark side showed up quickly. Linda walked away from inappropriate situations that many models felt they had to endure. When she returned to the Western fashion scene, she was more determined than ever. But Paris wasn't ready for her either. The early 80 seconds fashion world wanted tall, blonde, and conventional. Linda was none of those things. So instead of trying to fit in, she decided to stand out. In 1988, Linda made a decision that nearly ended her career before it truly began. Frustrated with endless rejections and tired of trying to be someone else's idea of beautiful, she walked into a salon with a radical request: cut it all off. The hairdresser was shocked. Her agency was horrified. "You've ruined your career," they told her. Within 24 hours, 15 designers had canceled her bookings. But photographer Peter Lindbergh saw something different in Linda's dramatic new look. He shot her for Italian Vogue, capturing an intensity that was raw, defiant, and completely fresh. That single image changed everything. The short, boyish haircut that was supposed to end her career instead launched her into superstardom. Within months, the same designers who had dropped her were begging her to walk their shows. Other models rushed to salons asking for the Linda. She wasn't just another pretty face anymore. She was a shapeshifter who could transform herself completely while never losing her essence. Her partnership with photographer Steven Meisel became legendary. They didn't just create fashion photos, they created cultural moments. "Steven and I didn't need to talk," Linda later said. "We just looked at each other and knew." By 1990, Linda was commanding $25,000 per runway show and appearing on over 60 magazine covers in a single year. The early 90 seconds weren't just about fashion, they were about power. Linda, alongside Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Christy Turlington, and Claudia Schiffer, didn't just model clothes. They became global celebrities. These women were as famous as movie stars and rock legends. They appeared in music videos, starred in commercials, and walked red carpets as guests, not just hired help. "We were like rock stars," Naomi Campbell later said, but Linda was our Mick Jagger. What made Linda special wasn't just her bone structure, it was her incredible range. One day she was the cool, untouchable Chanel muse. The next, she was a smoldering Versace goddess. She could completely reinvent herself, while somehow always remaining recognizably Linda. Her appearance in George Michael's Freedom 90 music video wasn't just a cameo, it was a statement. She lip-synced the words with such power and defiance that it felt like a manifesto about female empowerment. At her peak, Linda's face was everywhere. Times Square billboards, perfume campaigns, movie cameos. She had become part of the cultural landscape. But beneath all the glamour, Linda began questioning what came next. I remember looking in the mirror at a fitting and wondering, is this it? Is this all I am? A body to hang clothes on? That question would soon become prophetic. In the early 2000 seconds, fashion began changing. Actresses started appearing on magazine covers instead of models. Social media was beginning to democratize beauty. The age of the supermodel was ending. While others fought to stay relevant, Linda made a different choice. She quietly stepped back from the spotlight. I'd had my time, she later explained. I didn't want to be the woman desperately chasing what was already gone. Fans assumed she was enjoying a well-deserved retirement, maybe focusing on motherhood, but the truth was much darker. In 2015, Linda underwent CoolSculpting, a cosmetic procedure marketed as safe, non-invasive fat reduction. It was supposed to be routine, simple, effective. Instead, her body developed paradoxical adipose hyperplasia, or PAH, a rare condition where fat cells harden and grow instead of disappearing. The treatment that promised to enhance her appearance left her permanently disfigured. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself, she later revealed. Ashamed and traumatized, Linda became a recluse. She canceled all work, declined invitations, and avoided mirrors. For 5 years, she lived in complete isolation. I couldn't face the idea of someone seeing me and thinking, what happened to her? She admitted. The fashion industry that had once worshipped her beauty went completely silent the moment it changed. No designer called to check on her, no magazine editor reached out. She realized the painful truth. I'd only ever mattered because of how I looked. The lowest point came when her son looked at her and asked, "Mom, do you remember when you used to laugh?" In 2021, after 6 years of silence, Linda returned with a $50 million lawsuit against CoolSculpting's makers. Her Instagram post shocked the fashion world. I have been left unrecognizably disfigured. I've become a recluse. This isn't about money, she said. This is about forcing an industry that profits from women's insecurities to be honest about the risks. Her story exploded across media, making people question the entire cosmetic enhancement industry. If this could happen to Linda Evangelista, what chance did anyone else have? In 2022, she appeared on British Vogue's cover, not hiding her changed appearance, but embracing it. Her jawline was taped, her neck covered with scarves, but her gaze remained powerful. "I'm not competing with what I used to look like," she said. "I'm trying to love myself as I am."
My second cancer I found on my own, and I insisted I wanted imaging.
And were you told, because you had already had a double mastectomy at that point, we're told you're probably in the clear, it should be okay?
Correct. And I said, but can we just do imaging?
And so you did, and then they found...
I wanted imaging, and I went that day.
And you found something?
It came back in my pec muscle, my pectoral muscle, and invasive. And what we need to remember is if you find something, the earlier you find it, the better. I just think everyone should test because it can save your life.
Fendi cast her alongside Kate Moss for their campaign, even while battling breast cancer for the second time. With friend Christy Turlington by her side, Linda refused to hide. Today, Linda's legacy goes beyond beauty. She's become a witness to its cost. "I'm not just a cautionary tale," she says. "I'm a woman who survived what our culture does to women who change." In 2023, she released a book with Stephen Meisel, writing her own captions for the first time. For years, other people wrote the captions to my life. Now I'm writing my own. Her story has inspired others to speak openly about beauty standards and aging. Linda's greatest transformation wasn't physical, it was personal. She evolved from a silent muse to an outspoken survivor. "I used to become whatever the camera needed," she reflected, "but my greatest transformation was becoming myself, flawed, changed, but finally real." The supermodel who disappeared has returned not as a perfect image, but as a real woman whose truth has made her more influential than ever.